and to the like the money aspect with currency and all of that, like I would almost follow a practice, or the way I'm interpreting it as is like when I think about like buying stuff, like physical stuff in my life, I think of like I don't want to buy stuff for my stuff, right? So like it's one of the reasons why like
I want to have the stuff. I don't want my stuff to have its own stuff.
yeah, it's like so I bought this game, but now you're telling me I have to spend more to access something that I you're telling me would be cool if I could get this. Welcome to the Upsiders. That is me. That is he. That is we.
Oh, whoa.
Welcome
Wow.
to another episode of the Upsiders. Or what do we do here? What do we even do here? We talk about what's going on to solve our current problems and not focusing on solutions, basically. That's what we do. We're a solutions situation here
Yeah.
that we run, a solutions operation. And I'm one of your hosts. My name's Los, aka your friendly neighborhood Los, aka the artist formerly known as Los, or aka my mom doesn't call me Los. And
Ooh,
as always, I'm joined by.
I'm the other half of that we, baby.
Whoop,
I am, we are we, and I am me, but we are we.
that is me, that is he, and that is
Or
we.
Bertram. Or I
Yes.
can't be Bertram. I can be a blue collar guy. I could be Honest Joe. I tell the
Mm-hmm.
truth.
Mm-hmm.
I could be Magical Mondo riding the waves.
Riding the wave.
I could
Yeah.
be many, many things,
Yes.
but I am the we called Bertram.
And we are glad you tuned in. So thank
Yes.
you. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead, smash that like. You don't have to like it yet. Listen to the episode, but subscribe. Hey, why not? Follow us so you could know, whenever our new episodes come out,
I'll beg. I'll
Yeah.
dance for you. You want me to dance right now? You hit subscribe. Hit subscribe.
Yeah, just mosey on over to that subscribe button, smash it. If you're listening audio wise, follow, subscribe as well, like us, leave a review,
Comment.
comment, tell your
Say
friends,
hello.
family, loved ones, worst enemies about this show. And yeah, we'll keep delivering solutions for you, baby. So, Bertram, tell me,
My man.
um, you consider yourself a gamer?
Ooh. I used to be, but then I realized that money and success in itself isn't a game. And I
Mm,
got tired of playing 3 hours of video games, and then I
mm,
turned the game off, and my bank account's empty.
mm.
So I decided I was going to apply my video game attitude and personality to career building. I sold out, man.
So out.
And now I want the money. I want my wife to be happy, and I want to have delicious food and all that.
Mm.
So I don't know if I am anymore, man.
Mm, okay. I'm not. Yeah, I we were talking off air about yeah, I consider myself somewhat of a gamer early on, like in high school, and not to age
Mhm.
myself, but it was when that goddamn PS3 came out and it was $600. And I was like, that's enough. That is enough. Subconsciously, I said it was enough. I didn't realize that I dropped off. So now, in this old
Yeah,
age of mine, um, you know, what are we in our 70s now? We can't even remember.
yeah,
But
we are.
yeah, it's just coming back and just seeing how much things have changed, how people make a living off of gaming, how uh the different types of mediums there are of gaming. It's not
Yeah,
just on consoles like PlayStations and Xboxes, but there's also handhelds. There's also, most importantly, your phone is a very popular place to play games. And it what we're looking at here is that, remember that narrative where when we were younger, where video games were supposed to destroy like society. They were
Yeah.
killing our kids, they were taking them away from what should really be doing, and like they were damaging our brains. That was a big subplot there, is that,
Hmm.
yeah, if you just spend your whole time playing video games, it's really taking away like your critical thinking, and you just don't have, like, you can't focus, like, and that was it was accepted for some time, right? It's like you almost alluded to it yourself when I asked about, are you a gamer anymore? It's like, oh, I didn't want to spend 3 hours of my time playing
Yeah.
video games. And hey, that could be excessive if it's getting in the
Yeah.
way of your priorities. But like,
Pricing.
yeah,
Finances kicked me out too
yeah.
because Xbox Game Pass went from $10 to $30. But I will play games periodically when my friends all find the same game that we like, and we'll spend a few months playing that game, and then I notice it kind of peters out, and then I won't play again
Mhm.
until my friends, the same three friends, find a game that we all want to play. So I wouldn't call myself a gamer I'd say I'm just more of a friend. Like
Mm,
I'm a social gamer.
mhm.
I like to play what my friends are playing.
Social gamer. Because
Yeah.
I found, and the reason why we mentioned this is there's this phenomenon now that many people are suffering from, that has brought up the question, should we go back to, is there another way to do this? Is there a valid reason to play games anymore? And can games
Mm.
be good for your mental health? Flipping flipping the table here, flipping the script, like, of that narrative that was video games are damaging. Violence from video games causes us to be shooters. That no one says that anymore. Remember? That was a thing too. Um,
It'll keep coming
yeah,
back.
but like, there's the phenomena now that I'm alluding to, is doom scrolling. Doom scrolling, Bertrand.
Oh, yeah.
You aware of that?
Yeah, I do it sometimes. Like, I think that's the biggest problem in my life right now is that you start looking at your phone and then that's all you do. And you
Hmm.
just start checking Reddit, checking Instagram, checking all these sites to see what awful things have happened in the world, which is kind of why we started this podcast, right? Is
Yeah.
there's the algorithm does not praise the good things that are happening in the
Hmm.
world. So you have to, try to seek that out. You have to break the algorithm. You have to break the doom scrolling of your phone.
Yeah. So, exactly. So, doom scrolling is defined as the act of spending an excessive amount of time watching short form content, or watching large quantities of user generated content or news, particularly, to your point, negative news on the web and social media.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of us, with the just increasing power and access that we have from our phones, have become victim to doom scrolling, not just
Mhm.
from time to time, like on a daily basis. And so when we're looking at, okay, what could get me off of my phone, and or just even if I'm still on my phone, just from doom scrolling, let me relieve myself of that. Could gaming be the solution? And
Ooh.
that's kind of what we're exploring today. Not kind
So
of.
in that gaming makes you more of an active participant than a passive
Passive,
participant. Is
right?
that what you're saying?
Yeah. Because what's really happening, right, is that when you're doom scrolling, what are you looking for? What
Yeah.
what are you looking for?
Whatever they tell us is important
Yeah.
to look at. Are you saying that we're becoming NPCs and video games make us the protagonist again?
Mhm. Yeah, because it's like, from yeah, from let me see, where am I getting this from? But yeah, doom scrolling, it defines here as, I'm reading, triggers
Mm.
dopamine release by feeding the brain's reward system with novel, often negative information, creating a reinforcing loop that's hard to break. Meaning, you see something once, and then you want to see something that just catches your attention again, it catches your engagement again, and you keep like looking for it. And it's very passive, because it's like you don't really know what you're looking for.
Sure.
And so a lot of us, we spend so much time doing that, whether it's just casually for a few minutes, or it could turn into a few hours, right? Have you ever caught yourself like, oh, I've been scrolling on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube for like an hour now. Like, where has time gone?
It's like for me, I think it is an extension of reading the cereal box when I was a kid. Like, let me pour my Cookie Crisp in here, and now there's nothing to look at while I eat this Cookie Crisp. So I'm going to
Mhm.
read the back of the cereal box and play the games and just be passive in this and do all the things and take on all the information. But that only lasted until I finished my cereal, Los.
Yeah.
And now doom scrolling could take hours, right?
Yeah.
I spent 4 hours per day on my phone just doom
Hmm.
scrolling. That would be akin to just reading cereal boxes for four hours. I feel like I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe it's different for other people, but the Fruity Pebbles box sure was captivating, and I was an
They,
NPC during that time.
they were great. I love this. They're probably still there. But yeah, so now we find ourselves where, people are spending a lot of time. I think the average, and I might have to get the stats here, is around 5 hours of time people spend on their phones daily. Many of us more than that.
Yeah, at
Um,
least, right?
but I was also thinking of when you're doom scrolling, and if you were trying to be proactive about these habits and you set one of those like limits on your phone, it says, "Hey, your time's up." A lot of us, were like, "Give me 5 more minutes," or
Oh,
"Pause for
dang.
today."
Have you ever used that? Have you ever used one of those apps?
Yeah, well, I've used the one on my phone. So in iPhone, it's in your settings. You could set your time limits for
Oh,
specific
okay.
apps.
Well, maybe I'll
Um,
try that.
and I haven't anymore because for for a minute I was like, I'm not really on Instagram anymore, and that was the one that used to get me. So I was just like, I'll just turn it off.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, as a YouTube addict, maybe I should go back. But
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
So, what makes gaming different, in your opinion? We'll get into the data here in a little bit, but in your opinion, what makes gaming different than doom scrolling?
Challenge.
Hmm.
Challenge, definitely,
Hmm.
right? Is that it is you have to be active. And I say that, but then some of those kids do that cookie cutter game or cookie maker. You ever play that game, Cookie Counter?
No.
I work with high school students if this is your first time, and they'll put that game on in the background where you have to click, and you have to every time you click you're like making a cookie or you're selling a cookie or whatever, and then eventually you have to buy an upgrade that allows you to now you don't have to click anymore, and you get a self clicker, and then you got to buy a factory, and then you buy this, and some kids are sitting there pretending to work on their English a little bit, and then in the background they got Cookie Counter going, and hold on a second, I gotta go buy another upgrade, right? Like, you're not actually doing anything in this
Yeah.
game, guys, and those games get you, right? And
Hmm.
and that's what killed video games for me, when I play games like that, right? Because then all of a sudden you mass this cookie empire, and you're like, well, okay, well, now I don't have cookies or cash in real life, and there's nothing that actually comes out of a game like that, which is, I think it's an important part of this conversation that we're having about, what is the upside to positive mental health through gaming? Is it possible? And what I started off with in our research for this episode was not all games are made the same. So it's going to be a really complex argument where we have to say, well, these games over here might be harmful in certain ways. These games are helpful, and what are all the specificities as we talk about this argument? And so, to go back to your original premise, is I think it depends on the purpose of the game.
Hmm.
There is a link in the show notes to Nick Ballou, the Oxford Internet Institute, which hopefully there's been some videos that we made available to our wonderful audience.
Yeah.
And what I really liked about his was he said you have to kind of ask questions about yourself while you're playing some of these games so that you could get an understanding of, is this game going to be helpful for me? And so it's a series of 3 questions, and question 1 is, do I feel like I'm learning or improving when I play?
Mm.
So I think that's an important question when you're talking about video games versus doom scrolling, Los, right? Um, I guess in my head when I'm doom scrolling, I think I'm learning stuff,
Hmm.
but you can't trust anything that you're reading while you're doom
Yeah.
scrolling now, right? And so that's an important question to ask about when you're playing: is am I learning or improving? Question two is, what is my relationship with other players? People said in the research that 80% of game sessions take place in multiplayer games, and research is showing it works best when playing with players that know each other offline as
Hmm.
well, which is
Hmm.
talk pretty much the only reason I play video games now, right? Is that I want to play with my friends, and I think we're improving in communication, and there's certain things that we're doing. And then the last one is, if I weren't playing games right now, what would I be doing? And I think that's important to think about when you're talking about doom scrolling, right? Is if you spend 4 hours doom scrolling per day, what could you have used that time for? If the answer is nothing, maybe doom scrolling is fine. I don't know. But for me, I think that was an important evolution in my life, is that slowly I started to have more things that I could be doing. I slowly gained better things that I could be doing. And maybe because of some of the skills that I learned through gaming, right, I was able to get some other better things that I'd be doing. But for doom scrolling, man, I don't need, if I'm not learning something, I don't need to be doing it.
Yeah. It's almost, before I get to that next point, it's almost
Yeah.
like, why don't they just change it from scrolling? Like, imagine like if you just had to tap every time, or like, to get to the next post. Like that get kind of like stories, but like make you like drag the screen or something. Like some action that takes some effort that you'll just fatigue from, right? It's like, what if you have to like turn a page like on the screen? Like,
Mm.
like I wouldn't want to do that a bunch, right? Or
Yeah.
like, what if it just randomizes like on just some like some terrible just post that you weren't looking for? Like someone sticks out their tongue,
What?
"Ah." Like just make your experience ugly to keep us from doing. We need some intervention. That's basically what I'm
Well,
saying here. And
isn't
like,
it like, you watch science fiction, and science fiction writers tend to predict the future because they kind of lay out what the future should look like.
yeah,
And I always think about Minority Report with who we were just talking about, Tom Cruise in our
Tom Cruise
pre-show,
is
right?
awesome, by the
So,
way.
yeah,
Yeah,
Los happens to think that Tom Cruise is the greatest actor, is the number best actor. Still a big
no,
event to go
best
see a
movie
Tom Cruise
star,
movie.
best
Yeah,
movie
the best
star.
movie star.
Yeah,
And it's been a long time since I seen Minority Report because I'm old. But doesn't he like open up? The internet is essentially, he opens up his hands and stuff,
yeah,
and there's all these screens in front of him, and he plays like classical music in the background, and he's like parsing through information. And I was like, that is so cool. That's gonna really change the world. And then the internet came out, social media came out, and all that. And I'm like, is that what doom scrolling is going to look like? Is you have like classical music in the background, and you're just sorting through, like, oh, let me read about what Donald Trump was doing. No, oh, hey, let me see that recipe. And maybe
yeah,
that's more active, right? Is that you're
yeah. Well, it
you're
is.
curating a little screen
You
for
could do that with
yourself.
those like the Apple goggles, the Vision Pro, like those
Oh,
virtual
really?
reality. So that's how you interact with the interfaces. You're just doing like sorting that here, break. And you could imagine, right? Your arms are going to get tired at some point. So you're just going to stop
Mm-hmm.
doing it. So like we need to make we need to make these like less enjoyable, these activities, right? Because even if I'm looking for some, I'm just going to stop. It's like when you go to a clothing store and you're just going through like all the racks and you're just like, I don't feel like doing this anymore.
Oh,
That's
man.
what we need to flip what doom scrolling is. But anyway, back to the topic at hand with gaming, right? It's like, what's the endpoint? Like, what am I? Yeah, like what type of game am I playing? Um, yeah. What were you asking me? Were you asking me something?
I asked you all kinds of things,
Okay.
man. It's okay.
But
We
yeah,
start
and I
talking about
think,
you start talking about Tom Cruise. You got off topic.
yeah, got off topic. But yeah, playing with your friends too. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like you mentioned, that's great. There's data behind the benefit there. But I think also just there has to be some finality in there too, right? Like there's an end point. Because unlike doom scrolling, they give us these infinite, like it's an infinite feed. You could scroll theoretically forever. Um, but with the game, it's like if you die in the game or like, you just didn't get past the level, like there's just like this good stopping point where you're either like
Mm.
defeated or in some games you could get like addicted. But I don't like losing. So, you know,
Ooh.
when I don't do well in the game, I'm just like, okay, that's enough. I
Do you,
just
so do you want to talk about addiction, Los?
We could. All right, is
That
the audience ready?
sh- well, let's wait. Let's ask.
Hey guys, are you ready for us to talk about addiction? Because that's a thing. Okay.
They're not answering.
I
What? Oh,
think
they're
I
answering you?
I hear some nods. I hear some.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
So that brings
You're the best. I
you're
love you.
weird. Um, what's wrong with you?
We
Um,
agree.
So that brings us to our Upsiders word of the week. We love to always have some sort of definition. We have some sort of maybe a new phrase that you
Mhm.
haven't heard before that sort of teaches you about this topic. And Los, our phrase of the week is dark patterns. Have you heard this phrase before when it comes to gaming?
Dark patterns. I'm afraid I haven't.
You know what they
Enlighten me.
are, but maybe we never put a name behind them, right? You were talking
Okay.
about the addictive tendencies of certain video games,
Yeah.
and dark patterns are intentional. This is from Better Internet for Kids, by the way. Dark patterns are intentional design choices to manipulate players into spending more time or
Mhm.
money. It is not only in online gaming and can be found in many everyday places such as shopping centers or online stores.
Mm.
Can you think of any examples of dark patterns?
Okay. So is this like, because again, I'm reintroducing myself to gaming, so I'm like complete new nov
Mm.
nov novice. Yeah,
Yeah, we
novice to
call that a
this.
noob. You're a noob.
I'm a
Uh,
noob.
I don't know if they still use that word anymore. It's
So
20
it's
years old.
like, am I thinking like, and I haven't played it, but like Fortnite, right? Like there's all these
Yeah.
like rewards or these upper
Mhm.
things, like,
Okay, so that's
yeah,
number one, daily rewards used to
daily
entice
rewards.
players to
Yeah.
keep coming back to the game.
And you could like spend money, right? To like
Mm.
buy some of these things. Or like NBA 2K,
Currency.
right? Where
A fake
you,
currency in a game that is bought using real money. The currency does not match real world value and blurs the real cost of what players buy. Link to currency card when it is unlocked.
and then like different worlds, like if, because I just bought Cyberpunk
Yeah.
2077 and like, oh, you
Oh.
could get access to like these different places. I don't know if that's really true, but um yeah, is that something too? Like I don't know.
It doesn't say worlds, but we could. How about we call it like loot boxes?
Oh,
Because
I've heard that term. Yeah.
yeah, an undefined purchase, which is only revealed once the purchase has been made. The chance aspect of potentially gaining a valuable item. Okay, well that's not the worlds thing, but you said Fortnite, and I think Fortnite does loot boxes. The chance aspect of potentially gaining a valuable item after the purchase utilizes the psychology behind gambling and can be extremely addictive.
Mm.
Man,
And so that's a debate or argument of against gaming, right? Is the addictive um the potential for addiction, right? The addictive
yeah, and
qualities.
that's what I want to be. I want to tread very carefully on this subject because
Yeah.
our job is to look at the upside. And you wanted to do an episode about like positive mental health through gaming and how gaming can fix so many things. And what
Mm,
I didn't want to do was come on here and highlight, oh, gaming is great for mental health. It does all these great things while ignoring things like dark patterns. And I wanted the audience to be able to have a good understanding of what are the positive games out there and what sort of things do they work with, like what are some of their systems, but to also think about those, we also have to think about what are the negative things because a lot of the positive um one of the positive mental health building with gaming,
mm,
these are not it, right?
mm,
Things like daily rewards, repetition, doing tedious tasks over and over again so that you get rewarded for them,
mm,
waiting when players are forced to wait to unlock certain aspects of the game and then they make you pay to skip.
Mm.
Anytime they make you pay extra money to skip part of
Yeah.
the thing, or
I
I'll go
bought
to
the
this
goddamn
world.
game. What more do you
Yeah.
want from me?
um, a foot in the door, a player's first purchase is made as tempting as possible, often labeled as a beginner's pack or a starter pack. Decoys, sales options, which are designed to be unrealistic, that'll usually be the cheapest and most expensive purchase options. They'll make the middle option seem like better deals. We already know that. And then loss aversion. This tactic plays on the feeling of losing something. It could be that a player has some game currency left, but not enough to actually use, and are presented with a limited time offer to solve the issue. All of these, and that's Los, when I played Monopoly Go, man, that really killed a lot of gaming stuff for me because it
Yeah.
utilizes a lot of these things, right? As I watch people play Monopoly Go, like, look at all the money I made, and then I spent money on this, and I spent money on that. I'm doing so well. I'm like, Monopoly Go used almost all of these things, and at the end of the day, I won all this fake money, and then I turned the game off, and I've lost real Bertram money. Poor Bertram's having to eat a can of beans, and the Monopoly man is eating, steak from St. Elmo's restaurant.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. I want to go to St. Elmo's. Uh, and so I want to just point out, when we talk about that, is the negative side
Mm.
of gaming that we need to stay as far away from as possible. And that is something that Nick Ballou, the researcher at Oxford Internet Institute, tries to be mindful of. For, can you ask yourself those questions? Am I learning or improving when I play? What's my relationship with other players? If I weren't playing games right now, what would I be doing?
Mm.
Got to be mindful of all the potential pitfalls, because
Yeah.
when I go on Xbox Game Pass, I could tell which games are going to be for me and which games are,
Yeah.
they're a money suck.
Yeah. Yeah. I think of like the time suck too, because I mentioned like I don't like losing, but like I don't like losing, but at the same time, I kind of kind of tell myself like it doesn't sound worth it for me to become good at this game. Like
Mm,
how long is it gonna take me to like I'm a terrible in shooting games. Like but like
same.
I don't think I want to become good at that. Like how long is that
No.
gonna take me? So it's like, okay, I'll play. This is fun. I lose. All right, I'm done. Right? How long is it? It's probably gonna take me a while to win this game. So
Yeah, and I'd rather have a skill that is more useful in real life than, hey, I'm really good at shooting video games,
yeah, yeah.
which may or may not apply to shooting other things in real life.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think and to the like the money aspect with currency and all of that, like I would almost follow a practice, or the way I'm interpreting it as is like when I think about like buying stuff, like physical stuff in my life, I think of like I don't want to buy stuff for my stuff, right? So like it's one of the reasons why like
I want to have the stuff. I don't want my stuff to have its own stuff.
yeah, it's like part of the reason why I don't have like a case on my phone. Like I just spent how much on this phone? So now you're telling me that I have to buy something else for this thing that I bought. Like I never planned to buy a case for my phone, or, or even now I have a case. Now if I drive, I need to get some like magnet so it could go on there. Like, what am I doing? Like, so I bought this game, but now you're telling me I have to spend more to access something that you're telling me would be cool if I could get this. So like, you know, I yeah, I would practice something similar to that. Like I'm buying stuff for my stuff. I bought this game. And I get it. Some of those games like Fortnite, it's like, oh, you don't have to pay anything up front to start playing the game. So that's how they get you. If it's if
That's
it's
pretty
free,
slick too.
if it's free, I'm gonna treat it like it's free. So I'm not getting that extra stuff. But yeah, I'm different too, but because I understand some people they operate differently. They get the feedback and they want some of these loot things or loot boxes or whatever you called them. And that's why we don't want to turn any of you guys into gamblers. Like I'm not saying go from doom scrolling to like feeding this like gambling addiction, right? Like ask yourself these like real questions, right? what am I taking away from this? How long is
Yeah.
it taking me? Um, what would I be doing otherwise, right? So, yeah, these are all great questions. And that's something for those of us listening who are parents, right? That should be something we're aware of too with our own kids, right? Because gaming could be cool, but
Ooh.
it could also take you out of something. And we've found some research around that, right? From University of Santa Barbara.
Oh.
Gets to this debate around pre-existing conditions versus gaming
Yeah,
addiction, right?
that was August of 2025. Kids with pre-existing depressive symptoms and social anxiety were significantly more likely to use gaming as an unhealthy coping mechanism, leading to what researchers call the downward spiral. Because one of the first things that we started to look at is is gaming the problem, or do people turn to gaming because of some symptoms that they already have? And so it's a symptom, not a cause. There's a lot of really great things, man, about gaming. The one that I liked was the Identity Sandbox. Did you hear about that?
What the heck is that? Tell me
I
about it.
thought that was so cool. So they talked about it in the Oxford Internet Institute video that gaming allows people to test different versions of themselves.
Hmm.
So, for someone struggling with social anxiety, playing an assertive character in an RPG can be exposure therapy. They practice being bold in a low risk digital environment, which builds the muscle memory to be bold in real life.
Mm.
And so, I think for me, the most positive takeaway is this idea that especially with kids, they're really trying to figure out their identity. And you and I were probably both big idiots in middle and high school where
Oh, the biggest
and
idiot.
if you knew me in high school and college, wow, you're probably like, that
Why
guy's
were you
such an
why were you
idiot.
friends with me?
Well, a lot of them were. They had classes with me, right? They had to spend time with me. We worked on a group project in college together, and especially if you went to boarding school with me, that junior and senior year of high school, because you know I was trying out all these different identities to see which one fit the most
Hmm.
like me, and it, it's not helpful to tell young people to be yourself because they don't know what yourself is,
Yeah.
and I think gaming is such a great help for that as long as you're playing the right games because it allows you to it's exposure therapy, right? Like you're getting to try all these different people. And so some of the things that the video talks about that you can try is like, can you play a character that's a different gender than you?
Mm.
Beyond Two Souls. I always tell people about it because nobody else has ever played the game Beyond Two Souls. Apparently, it was with Elliot Page, and
Mm.
this character is connected with a poltergeist, and the poltergeist follows them throughout their entire life and always intervening. It tells a beautiful story. I cried
Mm.
during it, and
Oh.
for me it was eye opening because I'm like, oh, I lived the entire life of a woman from
Mm.
legitimately baby to, I
Oh.
mean, there was a part where you're the baby all the way into like
What's it called again?
20s. Beyond Two Souls.
Beyond Two
Willem
Souls.
Dafoe is in it. He's your doctor. He's your doctor throughout the whole life as he's
What
trying to
was
figure
this
out.
the budget on this game? Willem
I haven't.
Dafoe, Elliot Page? Was
Yeah,
it
yeah.
directed by Martin Scorsese?
Yeah.
Jeez. Actually, the fact that makes you cry, I'm thinking now, okay, was it Steven Sotherbro or like
Oh yeah. Benicio del Toro was in it.
modern day Terrence Malick? I mean, um,
And so, video games can have you role play as a different gender. It can
mm,
have you role play as a more assertive character than you would often be in your own life, or it could have you role play as a more emotionally vulnerable character. And so, it provides a safe place to test out identities. And so, the idea of the identity sandbox, I don't know if there's really anything else where you can do that, right? Like I always tell people to get into Dungeons and Dragons.
mm,
Dungeons and Dragons is a great tabletop RPG where you can role play as any character you want, and you're with friends. That's a really good one too. Board games, things of that nature. So the Identity Sandbox for me is maybe the most positive takeaway from this episode.
mm. Yeah, put yourself in different perspective. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, and get perspective out of that. Great. Yeah, so, hmm, Bertram,
yeah.
now, is there any we spoke of, okay, for your mental health, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any examples of video games maybe being prescribed by doctors? Like,
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, there is. Wow. That should take us to our hero of the upside, our weekly hero of the upside, who is a Dr. Nicholas Thompson.
mm,
Often, yeah, Thompson, not with a P.
mm,
He's a forensic psychologist at VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University, and he has partnered with T-Mobile. He has a VCU-born startup, Arch XR, and it's essentially a therapy game, right? Which is interesting because I'm working with some students right now on business pitches, and they're creating their own businesses. And one of the kids pitched like a mental health AI app
ooh,
where, in order, because kids have a hard time trusting adults,
mhm,
especially when they're in need of therapy. They don't, they often don't trust adults at that time, and they
yeah,
don't feel comfortable telling somebody something. So to be able to have, how do we bridge the gap to get students into seeing licensed therapists and get
mm,
see school psychologists because they just won't go, right? And the same way that, as a man in my when I was in my early 20s, you just don't go see the doctor,
yeah.
right? Yeah. Well, what do I need to see the doctor for? Um, you
That's
look like you
cool.
wanted to say something.
I'm almost, I don't want to, I'm almost brainstorming at this point. It's like almost like using deep fakes or like AI generated people. Cause you know how like they have people who are AI generated, like they're not real people. You could,
Yeah,
yeah, they have like these perfect faces and stuff. But like, what if like
like
there
you.
was, no,
You have a
uh,
perfect face, Los. You
what
are
if,
a perfect person.
no, stop it. You are. But anyway, what if there was like an app where you're like FaceTiming with like a therapist, but they're like someone like your age. They'd look like someone you're like a friend. And then you're like telling them about what's going on, right? And they're being like your therapist, but this is like an AI generated person who is giving you like real therapist information, not like the AI stuff that they struggle with right now, like where these language models are telling you, but like you're getting direct feedback from like a licensed therapist, but the avatar, so to speak, is someone more relatable, you know?
You just completely unlocked a core memory for me. I had to look it up and I can't find it anywhere. In the early internet days when the internet was just starting out, there was like a series of games made where they were like hostage negotiators, but not
Mm,
just hostage negotiators. It was, you had to you were given many scenarios, uh and you had to like talk your way out of it. I often pick the wrong answers, Los, because I don't know what to say in a social situation, which is why, and when I go to parties, I hide behind Los because Los is just this handsome, talkative, charismatic man, and I'm a freak, Los. I'm a freak, and so I had to, and unfortunately, like, before the internet, we would just throw people into, eventually you just have to do trial by fire, right? And now with the internet and all these things, people don't have to do trial by fire anymore. They could just hang out with their phone and video games all the time, right?
mm,
And so how do you eventually get over your fear of talking to people? And for me, it was negotiation games like this. And what's very helpful is I go back and try and play some of those games, and
mm,
I remember making the wrong decision a bunch, and now it's so obvious what the right decision is, and I'm like, I grew. Like, oh man, this used to be so confusing to me, and now I could pass these hostage negotiator games easily, and I could talk my way out of the. It was just a really cool series of games. If I find it, I'll throw it in the show notes because, I mean, if you're a young kid, you're going to think they're stupid and they're probably outdated, but they were cutting edge, 25 years ago. Um, and so to go with what Nicholas Thompson's stuff excuse me, is he designed these in their VR games. They're like a social emotional trainer, and he does it for youth with conduct disorder. and who are usually resistant to talk therapy. And so kids can put on a headset and play through like gamified scenarios, and they win when they correctly identify facial expressions, even when characters are wearing masks or sunglasses, and choose pro-social ways to resolve conflicts. And so it uses biofeedback. If the student's heart rate spikes, indicating anger or stress, the game recognizes it and requires them to use a calming technique. In late 2025, Thompson received a $3 million grant to expand this program with youth who have been victims of gun violence and are currently in the hospital, or stabbings too. And the data showed that these victims are 88 times more likely to be involved in violence again. Thompson's idea is called Elevate VR, and it provides resiliency training during their hospital stay to prevent retaliatory violence before they are discharged. There's a really great quote that I always use when I think about students, and I try and get students to understand this. And I say, if the only tool that you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail, right? And
Mm-hmm.
there are so many students who, as soon as they learn that they can resolve a situation with violence, they just solve all their problems with violence, right? And so, my role as a teacher is to try and give a lot of these students, some critical thinking skills and problem solving skills, that they have way more tools in their toolbox. Because if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem just looks like a
Sometimes you need
nail.
a
So,
balloon.
yeah, sometimes you need a balloon. Well, go back and watch season 3 of Bridgerton. Uh, I don't know if you saw that. The man, woo, that Colin Bridgerton, man,
Oh boy.
that and the air balloon, and so this product with Thompson has made significant gains in emotion recognition accuracy, meaning kids got better at reading fear, sadness, and anger at others. Nearly 100% of participants reported that they actually enjoyed the VR sessions and felt that they helped their real world relationships. And so Thompson is using what we call the flow state of gaming to rewire how the brain responds to social triggers. So,
I
man,
gotta
our
say,
hero of the upside,
shout outs to yeah, the hero Thomas
Nick Thompson.
Thompson. Nah, Nick Thompson,
Yeah,
the doctor. So
Dr.
shout
Nick
outs to him.
Thompson. Yeah, from
Yeah, just
Virginia
making
Commonwealth.
making differences through video games, and from a social emotional standpoint, that's beautiful. I really just
Yeah.
think, yeah.
And to
Uh,
add on to this idea of the flow state really quick,
oh,
right,
that's what
is
I was gonna
that,
say. I love the idea of the
yeah.
flow state. I'm in flow
Um,
state right now. Oh man.
so it talks about how it interacts with your psychological flow state, which a lot of times is referred to as like your mental health sweet spot.
Yeah.
And gaming is one of the few activities that induces flow. It's a state of total immersion where the challenge of the task perfectly matches the skill of the user. So whatever the task you're doing is, it has to be just as challenging as the skill of the user. It has to match. If something's too difficult, you can't get in a flow state. If it's too easy, you can't get into a flow
Yeah.
state. So,
It
which is,
yeah.
we do that in education all the time, right? As I try and give students the perfect skill in math or history or whatever that they are ready to learn, otherwise, which is almost impossible now, because every kid that comes into your classroom, they're on a wide scale
Yeah.
of knowledge, right? So it's
Yeah.
almost impossible to hit them all in the same sweet spot. So think of a flow state acts as like a reset button for your nervous system. It
Mm.
lowers your cortisol, and it provides you a break from ruminating thoughts, like the broken record of anxiety.
Yeah. It
I know
reminds
I know all about that.
Oh, hell yeah. It reminds me, flow state reminds me of, remember NBA Jam,
Of
when
course.
you just like you're on
Scream!
fire. When
He's
you
on
get on
fire.
fire and you could like do anything, and it's like, yeah, that's still within your like level, right? It's like in real life when an NBA player is going off for like 50
Heat check.
points, 60 points, and they're just like, woof, 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 hit another one, woof, hit another one. They're
Oh
just in
yeah.
flow state.
Oh, I love when a player hits like 3 or 4 shots in a row and they just do a heat check and they make
Woo.
it. And it's just, ooh, that feels good.
That's just Steph Curry almost every
Yeah.
day. Woo-hoo. Wee. Um,
Los, I shot a 290 in bowling on Thursday night.
from flow state.
That's my highest, and you know what it was? That was my highest game I've ever shot. I got a 9 spare in the first frame, and then I threw 11 strikes. And the secret sauce was mindfulness and meditation and breathing and yoga and all those things I've been doing, where I would put the ball in my hand and I would start to take a deep inhale, and then I'd go And as I exhale, that's when I start walking. And I repeated the same exact action 11 times in a row and put that kibosh on those pins and got a strike. So, if we're like, it's all about his heat check. Is a heat check, son.
Yeah, that flow
But
state. We
yeah,
want
I couldn't be denied. I was locked in, right?
here on the Upsiders, we want the whole world to be in the flow state. That's our goal. That's why we
Mm,
do it. So,
yeah.
yeah, great talking about gaming. And I guess what was your takeaway? Because this full disclaimer, right? This was my idea for this episode. But
Yeah,
so
please.
in researching, what were your takeaways from exploring the benefits and yeah, just gaming overall and its contribution, possibly linked to your mental health?
I think for me, I learned a lot about my habits when I'm looking for a game. And I think subconsciously, I already understood a lot of this stuff because of my interactions with Monopoly Go. You know, I am playing one of the games I'm playing is ironically Call of Duty with my friends. That's what they got into because my friend really loves shooting games and I just like spending time with them. And what's funny is I'm able to acknowledge all of those predatory practices in the game and
Mm,
ignore them all. And it just doesn't have the same effect on us that it has on kids. So they're like, oh, make sure they currently have the Fallout stuff available, right? It's
mm.
like, oh, you want your character to look like Fallout? No, not really. I don't really care. I'm just here to play games with my friends. And so it's interesting how you have to have the tools and the awareness to sort of navigate games and make sure that you mess with the positive games and avoid all those negative stereotypes. Um, yeah,
Yeah, game cautiously, but have a good time while you're doing it. That's what it sounds like, right?
Yeah. And I could give you a list of some of the games that they gave examples of if
Hmm.
you're looking for some of those positive experiences. Like one of the games they talked about with identity sandboxes where you experiment with yourselves is The Sims 4.
Mm.
It's still the leader in 2026 for identity exploration. So, oh man, they've added even more gender affirming features like top surgery scars and chest binders and
Whoa.
neurodiversity traits,
Ooh.
allowing players to see themselves represented or try on new versions of themselves. That's pretty cool. Um, for flow state, they have games like Tiny Glade, Hollow Knight, and Super Mario Brothers Wonder. For games like Flow State, Resilience, and Childlike Wonder, and then I loved Empathy and Connection Builders. They had this game, It Takes Two, which I don't know if you know anything about. It Takes Two. You play that game?
Is that the song? It takes two to
No,
tango.
it is a game where two people have to play together, and it's often used in couples therapy.
Ah,
It's a game
okay.
about like, yeah, the these parents, they're like divorcing, I think, and they
Mm.
haven't told their kid yet that they're divorcing, and they get like, I don't know, some sort of magic happens and they get turned into like the kids' two dolls and they have to work together to figure out how to become human again. And so like over the course of the game, they try and, like they learn better communication with each other. And so that one gets used a lot in couples therapy to improve communication and collaborative problem solving. And then I like this one I wanted to point out, Sky Children of the Light. It's the same people who made that game Journey years ago. It's a social adventure where the primary mechanic is giving. You progress by helping other players who are often strangers without the use of text chat. So you remove the risk of emotionally disruptive players while fostering a sense of global community. And then you and I talked about Dr. Thompson's game, which is Impact VR, and then Endeavor OTC, which is an FDA cleared game for adults with ADHD. So there's some examples out there of just get involved in some of these positive games and build those skills and
Yeah,
avoid the ones that just want your money.
yeah, please. And just know that there is an alternative to doom scrolling.
Yeah. What made you want to pick this episode?
I've just been exploring for my own mental health. It's like, because I spend a lot of time just working
Mm-hmm.
and being self-defeating and um
Mm.
just something where when I'm looking for some of that dopamine, whether it's on YouTube or scrolling feeds, it's like, well, what else could I be filling this time? Because as someone with ADHD, I have time blindness. So
Ah.
I'm trying to understand like if I play a game and I know it lasts for this long, right? Then I know I spent 20 minutes or I spent 30 minutes or whatever. And so I could fit that in between in theory, maybe. Um, and so yeah, I've just been exploring that. It's like, how could I spend my time in a way that's with intention rather than just
Mm.
mindlessly and casually. And yeah,
How long?
if it could
How long
help
would you
my
say you
brain.
doom scroll?
I don't know because I don't, yeah, it's like I don't doom scroll so much. I but I was looking at it as it's a phenomenon with that happens with a lot of people. But
Yeah.
I watch and play a lot of YouTube videos. Like I don't know how many if YouTube videos were cigarettes, who knows how many packs a day I go through. So like I don't just like scroll, like I'll just click to watch and I may like listen to it and stuff like that. But
If you're our post-production assistant who's editing this episode, you need to highlight that for one of our short clips here of Los saying that essentially watching YouTube videos is the exact same thing as smoking cigarettes was in the 90s.
yeah, or like in the 60s when they talk
Yeah.
about like how many packs a day was like Dean Martin pulling, like I don't know.
So do you think the people that run the YouTube algorithm or any of these algorithms are like madmen? Like Don, is there a Don Draper somewhere? It's like we need to make sure that we get
Yeah.
these people watching these videos.
Yeah, and there's just great creators and I'm curious and
Make it a
interested in
make it a rectangular red button.
yeah, absolutely. And as someone who kind of, dabbles a little bit in UX design, so I could understand how you make these feeds more engaging.
Yeah,
Um, like
that's
I'll
what the
tell you,
money's for.
yeah, that's what the money's for. You never said thank you. But yeah, so I was just interested on how games could fall into or replace some of my consumption
Mm,
of videos or social media posts if I do um get to that point as well. So I'm just exploring, I don't have clear answers, but I thought it was worth
mm,
for both of us seeing how we're the
yeah.
upsiders of exploring.
So what do you think of as your next step, right?
Yeah.
As you were talking about, well, I'm not really a gamer anymore because the prices of, god damn, these prices are really high. That's a lot of money right there.
Crazy. Those prices are
So
crazy.
so
Yeah.
what's the next step for you? Do you think you're going to pick a video game that specifically does one of these things? Are you
Not
what
necessarily, yeah. But I do, and that's I don't do many things well, but I do I I am good at like choosing what's like good for me, like what helps, right? What do I get from it, right? So it's like
mm,
I'm not gonna dive into these games that I could understand will take a long time to get into, right?
mm,
Uh, I'm so like I'm first looking at okay, what am I interested in? So right now it's like I watch a lot of soccer and like basketball. So like, oh, EAFC, NBA 2K.
what about Pro Football Manager?
Oh, football manager. Yeah, I have football manager as well.
Shout outs to our friend David who has
Yeah,
become a
he's been
diehard
playing
football
an
fan,
FM guy.
soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he just he every time I'm on Xbox and he's
Who's he
not playing games with
managing?
me,
I need to ask him. Yeah.
not Irish team
Ah,
with the
Shamrock
no with the D,
Rovers.
I think. No, it's a Scottish team.
Oh, Dundee.
Dundee.
Ah,
I
cool.
don't know. Remember if it's Dundee or Dundee United because
United.
apparently
Yeah.
one of them is not any like he's not a fan of one and
Yeah.
is a fan of the other.
And they're right next to each. It's one of the
I think it.
trivia.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun fact, one of the closest rivalries, their stadiums are like right across the street from one another. But anyway, FM though, it's interesting you mentioned FM because I realize, okay, that's like a Saturday game because
Oh.
I can't play between like meetings. I can't play FM because for those, yeah, who don't know, football manager is you're running a team and,
Yeah.
you field them and then you figure out, okay, these tactics, do they work? Should we tweak them? Is there someone, a younger player that we may be interested in
Oh,
developing and stuff?
interesting.
So that's time
Well,
consuming, right? um
okay. Well,
so
can
I'm
we have?
thinking, yeah,
Go ahead.
let me play a game on FC where you're
Yeah.
just playing, Arsenal versus Man City, and that's a game, right? I could estimate how long that's going to take me, and after I'm done, I'm like, okay, I won or lost that game. I could move on with the rest of my day. But with
Well,
FM, I'm like,
yeah.
I'm building this. I'm involved. Like I need to tweak these things, and so
Mm.
Yeah, that's not one I have it and I play it and it's cool, but that's not like a yeah, replacing whatever I'm doing right now.
I want to go back to something you said about like it seemed that you alluded to I would like a game that I can play in between meetings, and for me, I find that problematic. Right? Is that I don't. I feel like for me, I can't play games during meetings because gaming for me is all about a dopamine release and all these
Yes.
feel good chemicals. And what I notice in my own brain is that if I don't play games during the work day because and I try not to do them like even at home like oh I should play I'm going to play games before I do my chores because I need the chores to give me some sort of chemical release like I need to feel good about doing my work by doing my chores and if I expend all my chemicals on a game I'm going to be dry when it comes
Yeah.
time to fold my laundry and then the laundry just doesn't get folded those and it's agonizing which it already is
Yeah.
um
Well, yeah, and that's definitely something worth considering. But again, to the core of why I first thought this episode was a good idea was addressing doom scrolling. So
mm.
imagine if you played a game, you replace the doom scrolling part of your day with a game. Like, how would your brain react to that? Rather
Mm,
than, okay, not okay, if you're not doom scrolling in between meetings, you know, you don't need to maybe replace that with a game. But if you are doom scrolling between meetings, what if you did this instead? And that would give you context too of like how long that's taking, right? Okay, if I'm playing this game, and it lasts 15, 20 minutes, okay, that means I was doom scrolling for that long. And it's like, okay, maybe I don't play the game because maybe I know that's how long I'm taking. It's like a measuring stick. Whereas doom scrolling, it doesn't give you like an end time there. So like that's some things that I'm working out as part of this process, right? But there's been some research there, right? Of some stuff that
yeah.
we've looked at, which is like, yeah, maybe addressing doom scrolling with a game here and there, maybe on a separate device, not do it on your phone. Maybe you have like a Nintendo Switch or you have like a
Mm.
Steam Deck, which I've seen. That looks cool, by the way. A Steam Deck?
Yeah, I'm not ready for that, man,
Yeah.
because that's
I don't
gonna
know
be.
either. That looks cool.
I want one.
I've heard of people who get in like Steam trouble, what they call it, or something like that. Steam danger, Steam doom, or something, because they have all these
Oh,
sales on games. And so people
oh
just
yeah,
buy a bunch of
yeah.
games.
Dang.
But yeah, that Steam Deck looks really cool. But that's probably another episode.
Yeah, I play a game, or I was playing a game a few months ago. Because again, it's like I take long breaks between
Yeah.
video games, and then some. I got to find a game that pulls me back in, and one of them was Crime Scene Cleaner because it's just
Yeah, yeah. You told me about that.
some dude shot a bunch of people, and now I'm a crime scene cleaner for the mob, and I got it's my job to go in, and I got to fill up my water buckets, and I got to pour my detergent in there, and you got to be careful going with the water bucket because if you do anything to like if you step on it or hit a wall or something you spill it all and you lose your detergent too and you only get so much detergent so
Oh
like
no,
and
they
then
limit
and
your
then
detergent.
yeah you're mopping up all the blood and stuff like that and then of course your mop gets dirty so you got to rinse it off and you got to use a power washer and just and make sure you dispose of everything and that game is so therapeutic man because there's no monsters in the game there's nobody trying to get you or you don't run into any bad guys or anything you're just cleaning up a crime scene and
That's
I just
cool.
I put on a podcast and I just get to work man I put on my gloves and make some money
Yeah, I'm gonna try that.
yeah
Yeah, so like given that I'm not a gamer, I'm looking at like streaming solutions or like small, like something that's not like too big of downloads. So
yeah
I've been
sure
testing like Amazon has Luna, there's Xbox Game Pass, there's
okay
GeForce now, and so I'm just exploring what games there are on there. And so I got even this thing called Backbone. So I put my phone
oh
into it and it's like full controllers. It's like
oh dang
crazy.
that's pretty
Yeah,
cool
cool. So yeah, we're just discovering here. We're looking for solutions here. But hopefully this episode was cool for all of y'all
yeah
listening.
man.
We're
What a
learning
great
a little bit.
topic, by the way. Good job. I think
Yeah,
people are going to listen to this one because they like
maybe.
video games. So I think we might get the most views we've ever gotten.
hopefully, yeah. And those of you listening, yeah, feel free to smash that like button, hype us up. I think that's a thing now on YouTube.
Next week,
Um,
our episode will be on tacos because everybody likes tacos too.
Tacos. Oh, okay. I guess my oatmeal idea goes out the window.
Brother, that's only me and you, man. Every now and then I look at the oatmeal in the grocery aisle with me and the missus are shopping. She's like, what are we getting oatmeal for? Like, why? Who buys oatmeal? I'm like, oh, well, it's just something to eat for breakfast.
Uh,
only Los and I like oatmeal.
that's it. But yeah,
We're old
thanks.
men.
Thanks all of y'all for listening. On behalf of Bertram, I'm Los. And we'll be sure to see you, not just on the other side, but the upside. See you next time.